Welcome to Beyond Billable. In this episode, I have a conversation with Knut Magnar Annestad, founder of the legal AI platform Saga and a legal process engineer by background. Now, this episode is slightly different than what you are used from us. I will be giving some narrative and direction as we listen to the conversation I had with Knut Magnar during Lexpo 2025 this summer. Before we start, a short note on transparency. We are not affiliated with Saga or with any other legal AI vendor. This conversation is not sponsored, we are not paid for it, and we do not promote specific tools on this podcast. Our goal is to stay objective and to explore ideas, lessons, and experience that help the legal profession move forward. The reason we are airing this episode is simple. Knut Magnar brings a rare combination of deep legal experience, long-term involvement in legal technology, and a very personal and inspiring journey. The first part is about Knut Magnar's journey from being a lawyer to becoming an entrepreneur. And the second part focuses on generative AI and legal processes and the jagged frontier between human and artificial intelligence. If entrepreneurial origin stories aren't your thing, feel free to skip this part. No problem, simply jump ahead to the 20-minute mark for the second section, which is packed with concrete lessons on generative AI in the legal space. Let's get into it. Knut Magnar, welcome.
Thank you.
You are the founder of Saga, and you are a legal process engineer.
I am.
That is a very beautiful term, and a lot of people don't know what that means. So can we start with an explanation of what that means?
Well, it sounds good. Some engineers get, that have sort of engineering background or traditional engineering education, they get kind of provoked by others using the word engineering, right?
Yeah.
So, but I kind of like it and like using it because it has to do with complex building, constructing something. Doing the planning of the logical way of creating a task or creating something. Right? So this is all about the legal tasks, the legal processes. How do we solve a legal matter, a legal case, a legal question, whatever? It consists of different phases. It consists of a lot of tasks. So trying to break that down and then recreate it in a smarter way, in a way that's easier to support with technology. And then create something that can, leverage this and create more quality in the delivery of legal services, and of course also making it more efficient the way they're produced.
And when did you start this?
Well, I am a lawyer of background, and then I've always been fascinated because I've been working as a lawyer applying the law on technology. So that has meant I needed to understand the technology at a bit different level than sort of the normal lawyer. And it fascinated me so much that I started seeing that, well, it has potential to support me if I am open to recreating the processes that I've been taught from my mentors,
So you started doing it as you were lawyering, basically.
Exactly. During my lawyering, and then it kind of took over more and more.
Okay.
And I just felt I need to, do this.
Is there a moment in time where you can say, okay, now this is the moment where I went from being a lawyer to being a process engineer?
Yeah, I think that I sort of had that a dual role in various of the major law firms in Norway, and then at some point, I just said, well, what if we kind of transformed my role and started working differently and all of that. And what I got back from then, one of the, the biggest law firms in Norway was, oh, that's really interesting, but it must not take away hours. It's you must not cannibalize on our production of billable hours. But it's super interesting, and that's kind of the moment where I understood that. Well, the point was actually to work differently, and maybe start a journey towards a different way of billing, a different way of delivering the services. So that was kind of the purpose. So I understood that, well, I need maybe another place and another job, another situation where I can explore this more.
So you're basically told, if you do your job too well, it'll have a negative impact on our business. So please don't do it. Knut Magnar is referring to the billable hour here. It was generating so much money for the partners that he understood that making law firms more efficient didn't help the business. The interesting part is that didn't stop him.
So, I have no problem understanding the statement coming back, because everything was fine-tuned to support that, and then you come, why don't we break all this down? So I no problem understanding that, but I also understood that I needed to do something different.
And when was this?
Oh, that must be back in like 2015.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're talking 10 years ago.
Yeah.
That's
plus 10 plus when it sort of started. Yeah. And that's when I really, understood that I need to work with this, full time.
Yeah.
And from a different perspective, from a change, a creating change perspective, right?
Yeah. So what happened? Did you set up your own company?
No. Then I just, I quit without having anything. And I started, looking for different opportunities for tech companies, et cetera, et cetera.
This is the first out of 4 leaps of faith Knut Magnar made. He quit without having anything, but he manages to land a job as innovation manager for a large firm that was lagging behind on tech adoption. He got a lot done, but was frustrated by the amount of pushback he got internally. Yeah.
So I was kind of given a position as a chief innovation officer back then in 2015, and then it's like also given a lot of space and budget to do innovation, to test and to play and also implement in the organization some of these changes. But it's still a law firm.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
But and at the end of the day, I was so focused on challenging, right, that it didn't, work really well. I managed to do quite a lot of change, but it came to a point where there were it became a friction between sort of the organization and my dreams, my what I wanted to achieve, my goals, what I wanted to achieve. So I guess that was, also a turning point when I decided, well, now I need to, not leave the industry, but sort of leave the position of being inside one of the incumbent players and start something for myself.
And this is where Knut Magnar started his life as an entrepreneur. His second leap into the unknown. And it was empowered by something he calls his life-changing experience. And that's when you started something.
Yeah.
Your own company.
Yeah. And at the same time, I had this life-changing experience of being close to death, and that does something as well. You start thinking, what haven't I done? It's not what I've done that I'm kind of that I don't like, but what haven't I achieved yet? What would I like to have done? And that's when that changed my view on risk, because the risk before would have been, the mortgage and the stable economy, et cetera, and now it was, the risk was not fulfilling my goals, my dreams, my purpose in a way, So it became that strong. So I jumped out of the law firm and created a company.
Before you mentioned the life-changing moment, I was already curious to find out what it was that drove you to change the logistics of legal services. Do you know? Or is it just a feeling?
I think it's a feeling. It's a drive. It's energy in me, and I think it's also my personality and my personal traits, which is I always believe there's a better way of doing things. So it's a growth mindset that I bear with me in a way. I always believe that there's always ways to do this in a better way, and we're always on our way to something that can be improved.
Yeah.
And I'm very, very curious all the time on how can it be improved. And I want to test that and find out. And sometimes, I find out, well, this is definitely not a way to make it better. And sometimes I find, well, this is a way of making it better. So learning from failures and successes.
So it's curiosity?
I think so. Yeah. Curiosity is a key word.
There is so much to learn from what Knut Magnar is saying here. We try to innovate with our heads, but true innovation comes from a feeling, a drive to find out how things can be done differently so it improves people's lives. We all have this feeling, but not everybody dares to follow it. Knut Magnar does, and it is fueled by curiosity and a willingness to fail, pick up the pieces, and try again until he gets it right. And then, so you had that push, that little push that the universe gave you was in the right direction because you started your own company. And what happened then?
Well, then we started that company, worked with legal project management solutions based on the HiQ platform, that we made templates for law firms for specific matter types, right? Okay. So for transactions, M&A transactions, for real estate transactions. So we kind of tailored them in a way to support, again, how the lawyers worked with their tasks through the different phases. Mm-hmm. So you might see the pattern now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I'm still interested because now you're outside basically doing the same thing, still messing up the business model if you're very successful, but people paid you to do this.
Exactly. That's one thing. And the sort of respect you get when people pay you to do something like an outside consultant compared to sort of the situation you can get in, like if you're an internal resource, is very different. Uh-huh. That was mind-boggling, to experience. Actually, it's not that you don't get respect, but it's so easy, to postpone that meeting with somebody internally. But if an external consultant comes in, and there's this key person that has set up this meeting, it's a lot harder, So basically, the processes became way more efficient. Uh-huh. The development processes that, because we made a roadmap, we were going to have this meetings every 3 weeks. So we had a project plan and we had them sign on that. And if they didn't, deliver on that, they would have to pay more, et cetera, et cetera. So there was a lot more commitment to the project. And, in 6 weeks, we basically developed something that would take me 6 months. Like an internal, as an internal resource.
Where did it go from there?
COVID.
COVID hits.
Yeah.
COVID like everywhere. Hits. Yeah.
Yeah. And that made it hard to sell project. And like I said, I was driven by this life-changing event. So I didn't have any savings or anything when I jumped out. So that actually, forced me more or less to leave my own startup.
This is the third leap into the unknown Knut Magnar makes. This time it was caused by forces outside of his influence, but he makes the right decision. He decides to become a solo consultant. Knut Magnar told me how it was to be a solo consultant and how he learned a valuable lesson from his first experience as an entrepreneur.
It was liberating, and also it felt safer, I was probably thinking that next time I go into a collaboration or a business with somebody, my due diligence of them will be a lot more thorough, and not, people are not bad. It's not that you're just not compliant in a way, with them.
Yeah, compatible
With them. Yeah. So that's why I kind of felt that I need some time just with me.
How long did you do that?
About a year.
Okay.
Yeah, a little more than a year. And then I met up with Bosse, who hired me at my last law firm, because he was then finished there as well. And we decided, to do some stuff together. So then I was kind of in a situation, but, this guy I just trusted all the way.
Knut Magnar goes on to explain how he started a new consultancy with someone he trusted and complemented really well. They created tech execution plans for strategies that were laid out by firms they worked for. Creating a strategy is one thing, but executing is an entirely different ballgame. Still today, there are a lot of consultants that can help you create a strategy, but hands-on implementation is much harder to find. There is a reason for that. It's hard work, and it can be frustrating at times. Knut Magnar shares some interesting experiences.
I think that, when you work with strategy, there's strategy and there's implementing the strategy. So I think we were good at pointing at situations where they wanted to get activities or goals, strategic goals into their strategy, but they had no thoughts on how to achieve them. That would actually take investments, that would actually mean engaging expertise in order to reach those goals. There were sort of no thoughts about that. So I think into those processes we were quite the pain point, or the pain as well, because we pointed out that, and then they go, well, we'll fix it. On the other, well, you have a strategy that you haven't been able to implement, and have you done an evaluation of why that didn't happen? And then the timing wasn't right. To challenge the billable hour, well, did you really make room for more efficiency so you could deliver more efficiently and then lower and have more security when you gave a fixed price? No, we just took X hours and multiplied by the average rate, etc., and then we multiply that again with pi or something like that, and then, but the clients didn't want it, and I go, no wonder they didn't want that, because they know they will pay a lot more than they will pay with a billable hour, because you're risk averse and you're not willing to invest in actually creating a better product,
Right. Yeah. Moving from service to products.
Yeah. So I think we got in a lot of good discussions around that, and landing then, strategies that were more aligned to the capabilities of change.
Yeah.
Right. And that means also slow change.
Step by step incremental change.
Exactly. Yeah. So there were, and we know, I wouldn't say it's impossible, but maybe it is, to make a big bang change in the law firms, going from, billable hours or the way the work process you've always done, and that has been taught from one partner to the next associate, becoming partner, etc. You don't change that overnight, So the efficiency gains are something you need to work with over time, and they're also disturbed a bit with the market development, the tools development, and competition. So there are so many factors that sort of makes the whole picture a bit unclear. What's doing what in that. That's why it's difficult.
If you're a listener to this podcast, you will have heard the lessons Knut Magnar is sharing from Arne Oosterom, Mirjam van der Sluis, Dick van Lankeren-Mattes, Elgar Wijtmans. The list goes on and on. Everybody is saying the same thing. Transformation is achieved in small steps. There are great forces at play. The very successful business model of selling hours, the unwritten rules that apply in almost all law firms and legal departments, even clients who prefer to pay by the hour because the alternatives haven't been worked out in enough detail yet. But this goes back to the first lesson we learned from Knut Magnar. We have to stay curious and keep trying because we can all feel deep down in our gut that the billable hour has had its time. In this next part of the interview, we take a quick detour away from Knut Magnar's journey and talk about Knut Magnar's take on generative AI and how he ended up building one of Europe's fast-growing legal AI platforms. So you've been doing this for, this specifically, for 10 years. But over the last 10 years, technology has changed so dramatically. So I can imagine that the type of technology that you use to facilitate these processes has also changed dramatically. How do you go about this in choosing the right technology for the right process?
I think it's experience. I think that's one thing, and another thing is I think that the lawyer and lawyering background and the way I've been working also with the legal project management, trying to map out, what is the process, what are the phases they go through, what you do in the different phases, what's the information that goes into the first phase, and what's the deliverable that goes out of the first phase that is used in the second phase, etc. So mapping out all of this and sort of seeing those patterns, that helps a lot.
Right. And this is what people can do themselves. They can just simply sit down and say, how do we do this? What is the process?
Exactly.
And where's the information? And
and
how do we connect the dots?
Exactly. And you can sort of create a tool for that, that it consists of information and it consists of knowledge that kind of work with that information and processes that is done with that knowledge in order to create those deliverables. And those deliverables, they have new information, etc. And they have new also purposes, in solving the entire case. So if you sort of break that down. Then definitely this is something you can do yourself. But then matching that with technology, and then when you match it with technology, then we don't need to do it like this. We could do it like that. That's a creative process,
Yeah,
that's more challenging, and I think that's the core of the expertise that I've been developing over time.
And this is stuff that you need to hire. You need to get someone external who's been studying this stuff.
I think so. Yeah. And that have that experience and that I've had, learning is always friction, and that you get time enough to sort of incorporate.
Yeah.
Solve the friction and incorporate that. And I've been lucky to be able to do that through those projects that I've been doing in the law firms and after the law firms. A lot of what I'm using today is from the period with HiQ and the legal project management tools. Because that's the core. I had the time then to do projects over 6 to 8 weeks with lawyers, where my job was actually to challenge the way they worked. Do a mapping of it, ask them question, what's the pain point? What's really the pain point? What if you sat in the chair of your client and asked, why are you doing this as a lawyer? What would be the answer of that? So a lot of being able to do that gets a lot of information and a lot of insights. And I've had transactional lawyers that come out of those workshops saying, hey, I've been doing M&A for 20 years. now I understand why my clients are willing to pay for it.
And why is that?
Well, that's a good point. He had definitely an epiphany, but what created that epiphany was that we put him in a chair and we said, well, now you're the CEO and now you're the CFO of this company that is going to be sold.
Okay, so you basically did role playing.
Yeah.
So that he could feel the effect of the services that he
Exactly.
delivers.
And then he understood that it's about handling feeling, it's about handling business, and it's very little about the law.
Right. And that was his epiphany.
Exactly.
And that's what people pay for.
Yeah.
What's your take on generative AI? It's a very broad question, but what do you what are the risks, opportunities?
I think it's I have a lot of views on that, but I think it's a transformative and transforming technology, and I think we have not seen half of what it can do. We don't have any ideas of the limits of what it can do. That's why I'm still really into the prompting, because I want to push and see what else can it do. If I do like this, what can I do then? What will this small tweak, what will that do? If we prime the model to do this and that first, and then give it a task, how does that change the output, etc.? And, we don't really know. We just have to test, do R&D, and that's the core of, what I love doing, trying to find things, ways to do things better, like going back to that. So I think that's a really interesting side of it, that it has so much potential to be explored.
Yeah.
So that's one thing about it, and the other thing is that, as a lot of technology, I think we're prone as humans to use it in the wrong way. And by that, I mean, we always seek ways, because we're lazy by nature. So we tend to seek ways it can do work for us that we used to do, or that we would do ourselves, get faster to the goal in a way. And when that comes into profession, then it takes the human out of the equation in the agency phase, or the process phase, and it puts the human into the equation, looking at the result and quality assure the result.
Mm-hmm.
So and that makes us, dumber in a way. As a lawyer, if I was reduced to only do quality assurance of documents produced by AI, that would, that shouldn't mean that I need all that education, all that training in doing lawyering, which lawyering is a, higher level, very complex intellectual activity with a specified framework and methodology, So if you're taking that out of the creation process and into just the process of reviewing or quality assurance, you'll get a lawyer that's not learning through his work anymore.
Let's double click on that, because there's many things going on here. There's one question is, where do you set the limits of what you allow the AI to do? It sounds like you're setting it at the reasoning point, like where the lawyer actually has to reason and use the information to get to a conclusion. But the searching and the summarizing and all the jazz to get to all the relevant information, that can be outsourced. But then when it's there, the human should actually do the thinking. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I think it's a bit more complex than that, but simplified, it's a bit like that. You can use this to prepare the information, to structure the information that you would use a lot of time doing, right? So you get faster and you have more time to do the reasoning and contemplate and use your intellect in a way, right? In doing starting and doing different things in the lawyering phases. And then on the other side, I think, what we often see is that we are not challenged enough on our thinking,
Yeah.
We can do that if we go to a colleague and we say, I'm not sure about this, can you read it? And you get challenged, then you get friction and then you learn,
Right.
And you get better.
And this you could do with AI.
That's what I'm thinking. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
As well.
Yeah.
So it's more than just one thing, I'm thinking a more integrated part of the process of doing the lawyering, but not taking the lawyer out of that equation,
Right.
And they're definitely in that equation in, feeding the AI with the information and then sort of getting the product out in the other end,
Yeah. Are you also saying that if it did work, because obviously there are risks if you, outsource all the thinking, the quality of your work is going to decrease at this point of the state of generative AI. But are you also saying that if we evolve and the technology gets better, that we shouldn't use it in that manner because we're going to get done?
No, I think then, it might be the end of lawyering and lawyers in a way. If there's, there's a reason why we have lawyers and we have the law, it's, to build predictability, to build trust in society, et cetera, and make people work, relations work. So there are so many reasons for, us having a legal system and the law. And if all of that, can be done better with technology in a scenario, well, then you take over the role of the law in society. And I need, I want to extrapolate to that instead of looking at, can it do the work,
Right.
that lawyers do.
Yeah. So if it works, if it's capable of doing it, then it's fine to outsource it, and then we can start doing other stuff.
I'm thinking that, there's a gain in society of having legal processes and lawyers and the judiciary system, etc.
Yeah.
So, but if that disappears, why then? There's no value in it anymore. And I'm definitely not saying that that's around the corner, and I don't know, but I think we're too quick to kind of assume that if it can create the products that we do as a lawyer, that means that it will take over the role of all lawyering or of the law in society. I think it's a bit more complex than that, but we can bring more efficiency in it, so we can have more legal support to more questions, real life questions for more people, because there's definitely a need out there that's not supported as well.
Yeah.
So the need for, legal services or legal support or what you want to call it is a lot bigger than what is being solved today.
Yeah. We talked about your journey from 2015 until now, but a very important milestone was left untold. And this is where you made the move to set up Saga, which is now Saga.
Yep.
How did that go?
Well, it started actually a couple of years before that, because I invested in an legal AI company from Sweden called Mygon, and I involved myself a lot in that, learned a lot from that. And actually back then, we also worked with small language models.
You already work with small language models?
Yes.
Yeah.
Because they were, the transformer technology that was invented by Google in 2017. So Mygon was set up in 2018, 2019.
Okay.
And around 2020, I invested and involved myself in that, or maybe a bit before that. And basically what we did, we had a very skilled developer that took the transformer and trained them on a specific type of agreement, like NDAs, for example. We broke it down into legal concepts, and different models doing different legal concepts. And then we could feed it with an NDA. It would then read the NDA and understand the NDA because we had trained it to do that, the different legal concepts of an NDA. And then we would make a requirement matrix that it looked at, and it would create a red flag report.
Basically, like the playbook system works now.
Exactly.
You were doing this in 2020.
Yeah, or even before that. So, and that involved prompting, right?
Yep.
We had to do prompting in order to get the small language model to retrieve and do the assessment according to the requirement matrix, etc. And I think that's when my AI journey started. And then, so we knew about GPT-2. We used GPT-2, but then transformers before that as well. And GPT-3, we were just waiting for GPT-3 to come, and nobody else knew what that was, of course, because and then ChatGPT came, and that changed everything. So we thought, well, I continued working with the Mygon stuff, but also we took all that we had sort of earned and what we were earning on the consultancy. And my partner Bosse, he came with a tech team from another job he had. So we threw all of that money in starting creating like a legal chatbot, the first prototype of it that we wanted to make more and more legal specific, with system prompts that were that promoted legal work with prompt libraries, etc. already. And that was in 2023. I think like May 23. Like ChatGPT came in the fall, November 22.
Yep.
And then we set that up, and we had the prototype. We were ready to deliver that and deliver that to a client late, like December 23.
Yeah.
And then we, got more customers, and then we started talking to some Dutch connections that we had worked with before, and we found, hey, let's do something together. We talked about that while we still worked with the AI, and we decided last year on Lexpo, we sort of announced that we would create Saga together with these two Dutch firms that we had connected with. And from that and the year after that, I think we had 7 customers in Norway at that point. And now we have like 128 in total customers on, and constantly developing the AI platform.
And there you have it, the fourth leap of faith Knut Magnar made. By investing in a generative AI for contract reviewing 3 years before the world even discovered GPT 3.5. We recorded this interview in the summer of 2025, and Saga now, as I'm recording this voiceover, has around 200 customers and is growing rapidly all over Europe. It sounds like you have a super exciting life.
I do.
Yeah.
I do.
Super
Thinking about it, really, yeah.
Life. And
it's getting more and more exciting in a way, because in the startup phase, you do everything. You do sales, you do this, you go around. I still do some sales, but now I focus more and more on the legal processes and solving those, and leading my team doing that as well. I have some really talented prompt engineers and legal process engineers that are lawyers, but with a totally different mindset than the usual prospect of a lawyer, right?
Yeah, yeah. But also, you've gotten here because you jumped like into a complete unknown. Yeah. 3 times or 4 times in 10 years. Setting up new companies. And trying new things.
And before that, I was super risk averse.
And before that, but was this really because of your life-changing moments that helped change everything?
The concept of risk changed totally.
Yeah.
It was not about not being able to pay the mortgage and have security around that, or the economic situation, stability anymore.
What was it about?
Not. It was about not doing what I felt I was meant to do.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Keep
doing it.
Yeah.
Please keep doing it.
Yeah. I will. You know. That's basically what drives me now, and I like let the other people, you know, look at how are we financing this, how are we, you know, developing the operations of the company, and how do we market, etc. I try to keep my hands as much as possible out of that, even though, you know, it's hard sometimes when you have that close ownership to Saga as I have, to keep that totally away as well, right?
Yeah, but you're in good hands. I know your other founders and
definitely.
Team.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This was great.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to Beyond Billable, Lessons from Lexpo. This podcast is a collaboration with Lexpo, the legal innovation event. If you have any questions following this episode, please email us at hello@clayrichard.eu.